Hello everyone, my name is Adriana Shakubeg, and today I will be doing a program evaluation on Feeding America Riverside San Bernardino. What is Feeding America Riverside San Bernardino? Basically started out as a food pantry, a very small food pantry in 1980. And when they started out, they were only distributing 10,000 pounds of food a month with 20 partners. Now they have grown to over 250 community partners, and they're delivering over 2 million pounds of food per month to 200 community partners. So they've grown and they're doing great, and they've had success in the Inland Empire, as we can see from this slide. Their motto is Hunger Heroes, to fight against those suffering from being hungry, which is important because people who are hungry are not effective in life and they need help. So the effectiveness of this program has provided 22 million pounds of food into the Inland Empire and the communities, according to FARP. They have come out with 18 million meals being given to those in the community. So they also deliver food. You don't just have to come to the pantries. Their target audience is any of those who are in the empire who are starving of all ages, who are malnourished, who need help, who are low income. They have target audience of community partners, so they can have a big outreach program like they do, and stakeholders. The FAR program evaluation questionnaire for their program success. So here's the 5 questions I've come up with. Is FAR's program successful to those who haven't invested in it? My answer is yes, because they have grown so far and they have provided to over 250 partnering community partners, which is great. They really take care of those in the community to where there's less hungry people, and they've also partnered with government grants. 2. How has this implementing of the new program benefited their target demographic? Well, it has really helped because they have partnered with CalFresh here in California, and CalFresh is a program that has grown from SNAP, which was basically like food stamps, but now it's a debit card where they can use it not just at food pantries and grocers, they can use it at restaurants, and there's money on there to help these people be able to get food for them that's adequate amount, not just to certain demographic areas. They can go anywhere within their community to get food. So the CalFresh program has really helped those in the school programs, has helped the families, and has helped all those amongst the program. 3. Has FAR provided adequate nutritional food to those who are indigent? Yes, they have, because they partner with so many grocery stores and so many organic farmers that they hand out food, and they give food that is healthy, nutritious, so anyone can have access to. It's not just junk food. They stray far from junk food, actually. Have the areas that need improvement been addressed? As for the most part, yes, because they have targeted everyone in the Inland Empire, and they're in every community, and they are very active, and they have a lot of volunteers, which is what they run off of. Is all the data provided sufficient? The data provided is so transparent that there's no way it can't be insufficient. They have everything on there from not just a third party, but they put their evaluations from other evaluators. So therefore, there's nothing that can be misguided, which is great. Intended users and users. So the evaluation is mainly for the stakeholders, the leadership hierarchy, the board of directors, and the community partners, so they can improve what FARB is doing. So the main point is that they will incorporate all these changes up with the stakeholders hierarchy, and then they will bring it down, so it'll trundle down. But amongst that, there's an evaluator stakeholder work group, which is comprised of board members, hierarchy, and some community partners that are really invest in the evaluation and help the evaluator, so therefore they can pinpoint what needs to be changed, what's great, what's implemented, what's ongoing, and so they can be communicated out. The primary stakeholders are individuals that come together in the groups, communities, government, and other organizations. These individuals or groups are part of making sure that the nonprofit organization are true to their mission and success. So if we look here, here's a list of the primary stakeholders in leadership, and it has their names, their position, and their contact information and what they do. So we start off with the board of directors and leadership hierarchy. So that's people who work every day within the organization that make sure everything is processed. And down here are leadership or the primary stakeholders who get reports from the board of directors and leadership hierarchy. The evaluation stakeholder work group is so important because they help initiate and get the ball moving when it comes to the evaluation. This is the evaluation stakeholder work group. The ESW is presented in the evaluation report, and there's name and stated who's in it and who is participating and who's going to be pushing out all the information. So this will also include those who are directly involved in the implementation of the programs, of the new programs. The evaluation will identify those who are ESWs and how they were integrated in the evaluation. It is important to have transparency so know why and who are the ESWs, because it's important because they're going to be pointing out who's important, why is important, and what's going on with this evaluation. This will also be a great way for evaluators to have a congenial method for communication between all parties. This means everyone is knowing each other and they're comfortable and they're like, you know what, let's get together, have a meeting, Skype, let's do this, let's get going. So here for FARB, we can see that their ESW team is comprised of this. So we have John Crook, Carolyn Solar, Vanessa Mikado, Dave Byers, Victor Bennick, and Jill McCormick. And it also has their contact information and how to get a hold of them. And then here's also the community donors, which are really important for FARB to be successful, and it shows how much money they are donating, what's going towards. Super transparent. This is all located in the 2019-2020 finances. So we could see here that Target donates 10,000 toward FARB, or we can look down here and see what Cocos and Caros donate between 7,000 or more. So this is pretty important. Next, here's a snapshot of everything FARB's done in 2019-2020. So they've distributed 18 million meals. They've served 1.5 million people. They've rescued 18 million pounds of food from landfills. That's crazy. And then they distributed partners at 376. And you can see the percentage as we go down, and then we can see how the volunteers, they have 719, how many volunteer hours they get, over 15K. Then there's financing and funding. So FARB heavily depends on donations, funding from the government grants, and work from volunteers in the community to get things going. So not only do they get financial donations, they also receive food donations to distribute throughout all the programs and community partners. So that's why their finances may not be as high as some other programs, because they do accept a lot of food donations. Is what they're trying to do, is feed those who are hungry, which food is more important than money because they can give it to someone right then and there. FARB has amazing community support. They do everything they can to provide food services, and they love partnering with everyone. So when you're investing in FARB, you're investing not only in the community, but you're investing in their vision to help those who need. They've also been granted food grants such as personal protective equipment, warehouses, storage units, supplies, and distribution supplies, which is really important right now going on with this current pandemic. They've really needed the personal equipment supplies so they can keep going, because those have really needed this year because of the pandemic. And then we can see down here as you go down for the bullets how much food they distributed this year by hand, how much food they've gotten in. And this is all data, again, on their website from the 2019-2020 annual fiscal reports. Here's a revenue report, so you can see how much is donated, what government grants are given, contribution, shared maintenance, and the total amount. So as you can see, yes, it's a high amount of money, but it's more if you look at the food, like actual just in-person food donations is a lot. And then here's their funding and finances, their expenses. So here's their food distribution, supporting services, fundraising, and total expenses. And we could also see that their net assets. So here's their unrestricted and temporarily restricted. And then here's their logic model as an evaluator that I created. The logic models are the frameworks of the organization that are integrating planning and implementation of the evaluation. Logic models are known for preventing the organization from using defective programs and procedures. The partnerships of a great importance of logic models show that leverage and partners from the organization and stakeholders are getting the most out of everything. So we have our inputs, which is like our state health department, stakeholders, outside partners, our activities, what they're doing with the community, what programs are pushing out and their outputs, like how everything's getting pushed out, like say like completed activities, like did they actually do well implementing that school program for lunches? Did they finish the CalFresh program? Which yes, they have. And here's their outcomes: short-term, intermediate, and long-term goals. Increase volunteers is always important for FARB. Volunteers is how FARB runs. Intermediate, providing healthier alternatives. Long-term is increase education of healthier lifestyles, increasing numbers of those feeding those who are hungry from previous years. So it's always important to up our numbers and make sure we're really reaching out to those who need help when they need it with food. And then here's the methods. FARB provides the necessary data on their website for all information. So everything's super transparent. So therefore, nothing is out of the way of at any source. Their website provides all the information you need for any year you're looking at. And they even include their taxes, so there's nothing that's misconstrued. And then here's the evaluation method grid plan. As we could see that what's the implementation of SNAP program, and then from SNAP to CalFresh, and then the implementation of the lunch program to all schools, and how the methods are going to do it, data sources where we're getting information from, the frequency, and then who's responsible for checking on these programs. Which we can see is the ESW members, which we mentioned before, staff, internal staff, and the evaluator to be sure everything's running smoothly and everything's effective. And the communication plans are important. This is why the ESW team has to have a communication plan of what they're going to do, so we can make sure we're passing down the information to where it needs to go. The evaluation present the primary stakeholders from the evaluation and with the targeted audience. Make sure everything everything presented is increasing versus declining. This will lead to implementation teams organization needed corrections. Here's a stakeholders communication plan. So there should be reports weekly. There should be team meetings weekly. There should be email communication as needed. There should be a shared file folder, so if anything needs to be changed, it can be uploaded right away within 24 hours. It addresses who the project managers are, how to communicate. It's very straightforward. Next is our target audience communication goals and objectives. So primary stakeholders, what are our goals and communication plans? So such as goals to provide adequate nutritional food to those who are indigent. So there's tools, emails, phone, team meetings, Zoom, weekly. And then there's community partners. The goal is to have a location for those who need resources, which we have so many community partners. That means there's 250 places a person can go to get help. So in this can be, as the changes occur, to update them. And then here we go, program implementation communication. So it just says, as we got the program going, we're gonna, go from weekly to bi-weekly to quarterly, which is how a program is supposed to be ran. And you can see here how is the funding decision making is, who's in charge of that, who's in charge of primary stakeholders, and how many times we're going to communicate. So the final evaluation report should be done within 180 days of conclusion of the funding. Thank you for listening to me. Here's my references, and have a great day.